go ahead and move forward because this is just a stock lighter. I mean, I just got this. I haven't filled it with any fluid or anything, so I thought I would go ahead and make this video to go ahead and show you guys what I need to do in order to not only fill the fluid but get a little bit more last out of it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to go ahead and gut this thing. What I need to do first is I'm going to go ahead and need to unscrew this, and then that will release the flint here, which the Zippo itself I've already dropped a bunch of times just trying to, you know, do tricks and cool guy stuff. So all I'm going to do here is just unscrew and spring comes out, and then there goes the flint. Okay, so I got a pair of tweezers here that I'm just going to grab and pull and lift. So inside, I believe there's like a total of like 6 rayon cotton balls inside, or cotton rayon balls, or however you want to call them. But you only need to take out 5 of these. And I believe in doing so of this method, I think the factory somewhere says that when you need to refill these, that you actually have to put the wick in an S type fitting when you're putting this in, so that way you get a little bit more saturation throughout the wick and the rayon balls. But for whatever reason, if you were paying attention when I was doing this, I really wasn't, you could see that the wick itself is just kind of stuck with all the rayon balls on top. So you kind of need to make a little S pattern or a snake pattern or whatever you want to call it in order to go ahead and get the rayon balls or the wick weaved in between the rayon balls. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just grab this wick, straighten it out. I'm going to go ahead and poke it through this little hole through the top. You know, I've seen people do it from the bottom up, and I really don't want to fray too much of the top here, so that's why I'm choosing to go from the top to the bottom. And some people like their wick flush or midway or lower than that. I'm going to go ahead and do mine midway. Seems about right. So from there, I'm just going to go ahead and turn this upside down. I believe all I got to really do here is just kind of flip that up, and then I could stick this back on top, so that way I have a little bit more of a base to work with here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do is use my tweezers and grab one of these round balls. I think what works too is just kind of stretching them out too much. You don't want to stretch the fibers out too much, but you need to kind of expand them a little bit so that way they're not so solid. You know, you want them a little bit loose so that way it'll soak up some of this fluid here. But you don't want to spread them too thin to where it's going to soak right through. Alright, should be good here. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just grab my tweezers here and stuff a round ball on top of the wick. And you know, see how it's kind of pushing it to the side there. So I'm going to do is just use the tweezers and then push the wick down on top of that round ball. Grab another and stuff it right on top, rinse and repeat. Let's go ahead. I'm going to look at the top here, make sure I didn't pull it too far. I could always just pull it back up if I need to, but that seems to be just about right for me. I don't know if I may have pulled that out too much, but go back on top, stuff that there, looks like I kind of needed stuff a little bit more into the side there, which that's kind of like the area that you don't want to take out, or you don't need to really. But it looks like part of it did. So I'm gonna make sure I stuff this back on top. I feel like I may have stretched the cotton balls a little bit too far because this feels a little bit tight. But I believe that's kind of what you wanted. You wanted this cotton to spread out so that way it's just a lot more saturation for the rayon and the cotton balls to soak up this fluid here. Alright, I think I have that stuffed in there enough, but let me just gonna use this, stuff it in there a little bit more. Hopefully I'm not too out of focus. Alright, because I still have to have enough room to put the felt back on. Alright, so what I need to do here is put the flint back on. So just go ahead and probably use tweezers and wear gloves. It's a little bit harder to use it with my fingers. So I've already been striking this flint a little bit, so I want to use that same side. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that right in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop this screw back in as well. Forgot to put the felt back on. Stuff up a little bit more here. Excuse me. Now that I have that tucked in there, I'm going to go ahead and lift to fill. So the thing with, I guess, when you're filling this, you don't want to overfill and then have all this stuff leaking out in your pockets. So I believe the method here is going with like 5 seconds of a spray or juice or whatever you want to phrase you want to call it. And you're going to take a break and then do another 5. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is lift this up, drop this in there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another, oops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly bring that up, close the top here, put that away. Just go ahead and let that sit a little bit. Got this great tech mat that would soak up anything pretty much, but I'm just gonna go ahead and keep this in the shell here so that way I have a little bit. If I put too much, it'll leak through straight into the case instead of all over my mat here. Alright, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is is I'm gonna go ahead and I bought this kit here, so if you go ahead and buy these kits online, and you know, I suggest if you're gonna get a Zippo, or you're gonna go ahead and get in collecting one or collecting them, that you go ahead and get yourself one of these kits here, because they come with a wick and a bunch of these flints and some fluid. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do here is what I've seen people do is they lift the felt here and they drop a flint in there for extra, just in case. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is get this damn thing out of here. Pain in the ass. Oh shit, it dropped it. All right. So that's kind of how it was supposed to work. Put this knife over here. All right, use my tweezers for this, because again I have gloves on. There's a little hole here. I don't know if I can really get that zoomed in, focused. But I believe, from what I was told or seen, that this is the spot for an extra flint. So if I get that in there, I'll just go ahead and stuff it in there just like that. I don't know if that's in there. Okay. And this at this time should have given enough time to soak up into the round balls and the wick itself. I don't see anything that's dropped there, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is flip this around and put this back on. And there you go. Great piece of, you know, Zippo here. It's a great piece of history. I know with this thing here, especially with the flag, and see if I got any tricks there. It's just one of those iconic things that, you know, you could add to any collection or just take you with you for EDC. But for me, you know, being a military veteran, this is just one of those things I grew up as a kid watching, and then just seeing all the military guys I've admired over the time. This is just one of those pieces of history that everybody carried with them during combat or during the days of pretty much camping, or, you know, any outside, you know, stuff that you're doing. This is one of those type of items that's good to have. So I suggest if you ever get a chance, start looking into some Zippos and adding them to your collection.